Hey guys, how's it going? So today we are going to do some planting. I have the gator loaded up with a random assortment. Some are annual, some are perennial, some I started from seed, some I bought at the garden center, some are past their prime and we just need to get them out. So it should be a nice day. I'm kind of trying to work through the greenhouse. I still have a bunch of annual planting to do, but I'm trying to work through and kind of get a little bit done every day. So this is what we've got. This is what I'm hoping to get done. So you can see right away, I've got some of the dahlias that we grew on early that I want to pop into flower beds. In fact, I think these are going to go here on the west side. That's why I stopped right here. Plus it's nice and shaded. We've got 3 that are called Rockstar. Look at that. Isn't that just a really interesting bloom? And it's in the pink tones that I want to plant over here. Then we've got 3 called Patches. Oh, it's so gorgeous. I've actually been cutting off of these plants for a while now. I need to deadhead this one, but I really wanted to show you the color before I did that. And then I've got just 1 Cafe au Lait, I think. I thought I had 1 more in the greenhouse. We'll have to go look. I've got a couple perennials that Little Prince sent out. This one is the Moneywort. I only have 1 of them, but I thought it'd be fun just to tuck it in on the west side because I love the color here. The other one is the, hang on, Royal Velvet Distinction Mellitus. Has really pretty orchid-like blooms. I've got a flat of Burgundy Glow. Ooh, there's a spider web on the back. Ew. Oh, my finger just went right into that. Gross. Let's see what's in there. Are they all eggs? Ew, they are. I thought maybe an adult would be in there. You see that? Oh, it's kind of gross. Blech. Anyway, Burgundy Glow Ajuga. We really want to up our ground cover game. Erin and I have been talking about it and how much we, when we go to other gardens, we just notice how much of the soil is covered and how much that helps with moisture control, like moisture retention, because it shades the soil. It also helps with weed suppression and it looks really pretty. So I'm going to make an effort to try to add in ground covers wherever we can. So I thought that the Burgundy Glow Ajuga would be nice over here on the west side because it has a pink variegation in the leaves. So look at that, kind of pink, purple, white, and a light green, like a sagey green. They're so pretty. They are past their prime in terms of blooming. So we'll deadhead all of those off, but even without blooms, which the blooms were stunning. They bloomed in the greenhouse, bright purple, absolutely gorgeous. But even when they're out of bloom, this is what I like so much about it. They just look pretty. And I don't like all ajugas, but I love this one. This one grows about 6 to 8 inches tall, 18-inch spread, and you know that they do root in. So if you follow one of their little shoots here and turn it upside down, I don't know if we'll be able to focus in on it very well, but right at the bottom of the leaves, there's 2 little nodes, like 2 little rooting points there. So they will root into the soil and they can spread quite a bit. So you want to be a little bit mindful of where you put them, but it's something that I really want to add in. They are also very tough, hardy to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Then we have Sugar Plum Foxglove that I started from seed. We've got, I don't know, maybe 12, 14 of those. They are a 2nd-year bloomer. So we will plant them this year, just get vegetative growth. Then next year we'll be able to enjoy their absolutely gorgeous blooms. Then we've got the Bunny Tails grass, which I was gonna put in the kind of kids garden, maze garden area out in the big cut flower garden, and it didn't really make it out there, so I'm gonna find a spot for that. And then right here we have a plant called Stokes Aster. It's the Peaches Pick Stokes Aster. They start blooming midsummer, go through fall, big purple blooms. These I got in as smaller kind of plugs. They were actually in a tray like these right here. So they were this size, and I potted them up into 4-inch size containers because they had gotten all jostled around in shipping, and a lot of them were out of the tray, so I just decided to pot them up. And they are putting on new growth, which is exciting, but I think they'll flourish once I get them planted in the ground. And these are a zone 5 through 9. They attract butterflies like crazy, and they grow about 18 inches tall and about a 2-foot spread. And then this one right here is a betony called Humelo or Humelo. I don't know how to say that exactly, but there's a bunch. So there's a tray of 36, and I already kind of popped one of them out, but you can see these are going to be really easy and quick to plant. But what they do is they form a kind of dense mound or a dense canopy of leaves toward the bottom, and you can see the shape of them. And then they send out spikes with purple blooms, blooming usually all the way through the summer, so early through late summer. And they grow about, I don't know, like 1.5 to 2 feet tall and maybe 2 feet wide, zone 4 through 8. I don't have any of these in the garden yet, so I'm really excited. I think the pollinators are gonna really like this plant as well, and I guess that they're evergreen in more mild climates. So, you know, zone 4 through 8, they may, you know, stick around throughout the winter in like zone 7 and 8. But I can't speak to that because we are a zone 6. And then these two right here, these are Roman chamomile, which smell like bubblegum to me. Like when you rough up the leaves, there's something really sweet and kind of like fruity about them. I overbought. I bought 3 of these when I put together that herbal window box earlier this season, which is still growing and doing well. So I've hung on to these 2 since then in the greenhouse. You can see that they just need to be planted. They are a ground cover, so 4 to 8 inches tall, anywhere from a foot to 18 inches wide, and they throw out these super sweet little white blooms, usually in late spring. But another really good kind of ground cover to get started somewhere. And then last but not least, we have this Armeria Victor Reader. You can see they've already bloomed. I need to deadhead these right here. I love the leaf canopy. I think they're the cutest little things. So these, I have to even look because I'm not sure, 2 to 4 inches tall, tall. So that's their leaf canopy, and then they send blooms out from that, and then 9 inches wide, zone 4, drought tolerant. So another little sweet plant to tuck into the edge of a flower bed somewhere. And when they were in bloom, you guys, this is a better picture, they were the sweetest pink flowers. I just loved them. And that is the order of the afternoon. I'm excited to get these in the ground because things just, they do better once you get them in the ground, in this actual soil, not in containers where they're really dependent on me to keep them watered. And they're, you know, all hanging in there. But when they're being watered by me, they oftentimes get overhead water, you know, water splashes on their leaves. I just can't control hose water all that well. And we water everything with drip irrigation out in the flower beds, so they just look a lot better because they don't get hard water spotting. And sometimes, like, I don't get to the greenhouse watering until later in the day, and sometimes I've got some stressed plants in there, and that's not good for me either. So anyway, checking this off the list will be really nice. So let's get started with the stuff that's gonna go on the west side first. First 3 are in. I did the 3 patches right back here in between the red obelisk beech and a royal jubilee rose. There's a coral charm peony getting ready to bloom right there. So I was noticing I need to do a little cleanup on the irises here, so I'll do that and some deadheading of them. And when I deadhead those, I just go in and cut the bloom stalk back like that, or like that. And that just cleans them up and makes them look nice. I need to shear up the arborvitae right there. See those 2 arms kind of hanging down? With all of the rain we've had this spring, things are just weighing down a lot more than normal. So anyway, we've got more coming possibly this afternoon and tomorrow and the next day. So another stormy, rainy weekend, which I would welcome. However, the climbing collet roses are looking so good right now, and I know if we get especially a lot of wind, which we're dropping like almost 20 degrees from today to tomorrow, so I know we're gonna get wind, it might take these roses out. So we should take a moment to look at these. Look at those roses. Oh, I love how they're starting to grow on the fence. They're just loaded with buds. So even if the open roses get, you know, kind of damaged from the wind and the storms that are coming, there are so many buds that will follow up with blooms. I'm just so in love. This is one of my favorite climbing roses right here. And if you look through the other side, the other one's actually blooming more. Let's head that way. I am just, I'm always in awe when the roses start to bloom like this. And I've got a clematis right here, which I planted a season or 2 ago. It's looking absolutely beautiful, and it's actually made its way up into the rose, which is what I wanted it to do. Look at that. Isn't that the most perfect pair? Oh, so one day I hope to have just a whole mass of purple mixed in with all of these gorgeous pink roses. And the fragrance is just wonderful, wonderful. Look at that, growing on the fence. Popping through, taking a look from the other side. Oh, I just love them so, so much. We prune these hard every single winter. I mean hard, like down to the nub. It looks kind of severe when we do prune them, but I think that it just makes them perform that much better the next year. And we do have a couple videos up where we've done that chore. The other thing I was noticing I need to do is deadhead the phlox. So that's the luminary backlight. Yeah, the only thing I don't like about this phlox, or just phlox in general, when they're going out of bloom like this, they look like they're melting. Don't they look like that to you? I don't know what it is. I love the blooms so much, but they do look better once you get them all cleaned up. So I just kind of take the bloom stock down a bit to nicer looking foliage down below. Okay, so let's get that maintenance done, then we'll move on to the next set of dahlias. Maintenance done in this area, and that was fast, but I think that's our weather that's coming our direction right now. We'll see how much we can get done. So dahlias planted and stakes put in the ground. I don't really have to lash them to the stakes yet. They're not big enough. Did just kind of a light cleanup of the iris, pulled any dead leaves that were, hanging out on the ground. For the most part, I didn't do a 100% job there, and deadheaded them. So it makes them look a lot cleaner. Then deadheaded the phlox. So things are looking good in this area. The next dahlias are going to go in down this way. We'll go ahead and deadhead this phlox while we're out here as well. And I set the dahlias right here. So we'll put the rock stars in back here. I've got a Mary Rose, David Austin, which is just starting to bloom, kind of that lighter pink. See if I can shade it so it doesn't look so, there we go. So pretty. I've got verbascum planted right here. They're just babies though right now. And I did plant armeria right here the other day. And we've got our clematis in here too, looking really pretty. So I think that darker pink will be great there. Phlox has been deadheaded, dahlias have been planted right over here. You can see the one kind of popping up above the rest of the plants. I'm excited to see that color right there. The next two we're going to plant are these. The moneywort, which we are going to just tuck in right next to the lady's mantle right here, and there's more iris right here that we can clean up. Sorry if you can hear Aaron's mowing right now. Oh, it looks pretty. I also need to carve out a little bit of space for this Mary Rose to be happy, because this instant karma elderberry is just wild and gorgeous, but I don't want to cause any issues for my rose. But look at how pretty those look together. But really, in the end, this really needs to come off. Like, these need to come off, and there's also a peony down in there I need to unearth. So a little bit of maintenance right here. I think this side is okay. Yeah, oh geez. That is so pretty. Look at the pink profusion salvia with the instant karma elderberry. Oh, love it so much. So moneywort there, and the mellitus right here, which has the pink and white orchid blooms. I love the look of that one right there. Just a single plant. It's kind of nice to have not everything in blocks or drifts, but occasionally just have an interesting plant popping out. So that is done. I got the irises cleaned up a bit, and then I freed the peony right there. You can see it now. It does have buds on it. I kind of, well, forgot it was there, and the elderberry just grew right over it. So now we should maybe see some blooms, and the rose has been freed as well. Thankfully, it looks very healthy. There's still bud production, flower production under where that elderberry was. And it looks like there's still flower or bud production under where the canopy of the elderberry was, so that's good. You know, a plant that's done really well for me that I absolutely love because of, I mean, the blooms are pretty, it's blooming right now, but I love the colors of the leaves. They've almost got this iridescent quality to them. This is a blue kazoo spirea. And it's just a tough little thing. We had it initially planted by the house over here. It wasn't getting enough sun, so we dug it up, put it over here, and I honestly didn't know how it would do. I didn't get a very good root ball on it, but it rooted in and it's doing really well. And the new growth, you can see, has kind of this purplish tinge to it, purplish red, and then it deepens to kind of a green blue color. It's just so pretty, and the blooms are big. Look at the disc of bloom. Love that. All right, next up we've got the Stokes aster. I'm gonna start by placing 12 in this space right here. You can see that I like to work from one edge to the other. This is kind of an island right here, and then there's a gap, more flowers, a little bit of a gap, and then it starts in a lot thicker right down there. I mean, we're gonna have this filled in no time. But we do need to start focusing on some late summer color going into fall. I've got a lot of spring in this area and a lot of early summer, clearly, a lot of good color there. So I think it'd be nice to have a good drift of the Stokes aster in this location. Now those are purple delphiniums, which will likely be in bloom, their second or third bloom, by fall. So I'm gonna space these a little bit down the way, like in between kind of the urn and this Glow Girl spirea, which is also doing really well. The spireas right now, oh my goodness. And that definitely glows. We planted this a couple of seasons ago, and I love the bright that it brings to this area, especially because we've got the wall of North Poles right behind it. It's nice to have something that really stands out, but it's still in the green family. It's awesome. Okay, these will be really quick to plant. I'm starting to hear some thunder, but I did get the Stokes asters planted. So this ended up being quite a large drift. So starting kind of in front of the urn and going in front of the delphinium a little bit. But I do like the brightness of the green there and the structure of the leaf. I think that's really nice. And then the second drift of aster, I did in just a very irregular shape, which I really like right here because, you know, there's not a lot going on right around it. But I do know that right in here in front of the urn, I want to come in with like a bold leaf. Maybe like a lamb's ear or something like that that's got a bold leaf and more of a blue tone to it. And I could start that drift right in here and then just bring it out and taper it off this way and then start a drift of something else in here. I'm going to pop a few ajuga. In fact, if I stand back, look at how beautiful that ajuga is right there. I mean, it just pops, the brightness of the leaves. And that's just 3 plants that I'm popping in right there, right at the border. Next grouping of ajuga is going to be right here, and I've got enough to do 2 more groupings down the way. I'll probably do one by where we planted the moneywort, And then maybe we'll tuck one in right by these asters. Anyway, I just wanted to show you what these look like after you pull them apart, because if you've got a whole flat of something or anything that you have too close together, they grow together and look gorgeous and full. But when you go to pull them apart, a lot of times they don't look quite as good because the whole plant isn't getting enough airflow around it or light. A lot of times you'll see really kind of sad or dead looking leaves right toward the center. And it looks like, I mean, at this point you could come in and cut this whole thing back, like cut it back to this fresh growth down in here. That way your plant will have energy to push new growth. And that's probably what I should do. I'll probably come along later and do that because I'm going to try to get through the rest of the planting. But like, look at that one. See the center doesn't look awesome? The leaves apart from it look pretty good. So anyway, that's just something that you can kind of expect when you're pulling plants apart like that. And this will grow between the Veronica and the rose. It'll grow around this plant. It'll just kind of come over and probably go over the pathway just a little bit. It'll be a really pretty bright spot. So again, check out how they look when they're all in a flat together. Look at how gorgeous they are. Then we pull it apart. This one looks pretty good. That's a bad example, but let's look at this one. Ooh, not so hot. Oh my goodness. And if they're vining type things, a lot of times they really stick together. So you could go in with a plant like this, take your pruners after it, deadhead it, cut off all of these runners, leave the nice kind of bushier growth, kind of clean up the dead leaves. And you're left with a smaller plant, but you're left with healthier growth, less stringy growth, and the plant will have a bunch of energy now to push new stuff around it. It is starting to rain, just very, very lightly. Well, it did start raining quite hard there for a minute. It's lightening up a little bit, but right where I needed to plant next, it's all protected from this juniper tree. It was really nice. I could enjoy the rain and not be in the rain. I put all of the sugar plum foxglove right in here. I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful. We've got a row of boxwoods. We've got a row of little lime punch hydrangeas. We've got boxwoods that I have yet to trim this year. They're a little woolly, but there's a hedge of sweet romance lavender, the Italian ice rose, which is just loaded with buds. It's going to be probably a week out from just seeing some major color on our roses. And then with that beautiful layer of foxglove in here, I think it's going to be awesome. I was going to tuck it in over on the other side, on the west side, but you know, I just couldn't find the right spot, and I felt like this was a really good spot for it because it'll add some height right here without blocking the view of this area. A couple other things we have going on here. We have the Oh So Easy paprika rose. Isn't that awesome? We've got a baptisia, I think that's the pink lemonade. The blooms kind of start pink at the bottom and graduate to yellow on the top. We've got a ginger wine 9 bark in here. We still have our spring plants in this container. This one's looking a little tired. Like I could, well, kind of. I mean, look at this. The stalk's looking a little tired here, but not this one. Oh, and the violas, the ivy looking really pretty. Oh my goodness. I also have verbascum in here. This is a more peachy colored verbascum, the weeping white spruce. I cannot remember the name of this salvia, but it's a two-color, it's a bicolor, white and purple salvia. Isn't that beautiful? Honeybee taking refuge from the rain right there. Then we've got a Woo La La hosta. The hostas have just been really great this year. This one right here is a Woo La La, so this one will get big too. This one I put in after this one here. It's just been a really great year because we haven't had as much wind. We've had wind, but not as much as normal. No hail yet, and we've had a lot of rain. It's amazing what that will do. And then we have our hedge of seducer hostas. Now, all of this messy foliage, these are all daffodils, the Del Nassau daffodils, which bloomed beautifully. We're gonna cut these back this week, even though they haven't yellowed completely. As long as I leave them up for a little while, it seems like they recharge enough to bloom again. So we're gonna clean those up because they're looking a little flat and messy. But the hostas are awesome. You can see the heucheras are coming back that we planted in here. Not as vibrant as when we planted them though, and that could be due to the fact that they don't get as much light as they did when I planted them. They were sitting in a spot that had more light. So anyway, the hostas though are awesome. Ugh. There's more hydrangeas here, which are being gobbled up by the daffodil leaves. We've got lungwort, we've got a Japanese maple in here, some lamium, and the rain is picking up again. We don't really have that much left to do. We've got the armeria, the chamomile, the cafe au lait dahlia, the betony, and the bunny tails. Not too bad. I forgot to put biotone in all the holes. What? I think in an effort to get everything done quickly because I knew we had weather coming, I just completely spaced it. So what I will do is go along. So if you've ever done this and you're wondering if you can still add it, yes, you can. I'll just kind of work it into the soil around the plants instead of putting it straight in the hole. Biotone, the reason why we use that at planting is that it's specially formulated to encourage a lot of root growth, not a lot of foliar growth up top, so that your plant forms a really good base, a really sturdy root system. So anyway, the more contact it has with your root system, the better. So if you can get it in your hole, that's ideal, but if you need to work it in after, that's fine too, because sometimes we forget. Okay, it's just sprinkling now, so let's get back after it. You know, I think we'll put the chamomile in this area and the dahlia in this area, and the rest of this will probably go out to the south garden. Okay, so the chamomile went right in here. I think that'll be a sweet little ground cover. We've got some purple-leaved hardy geraniums in here. I can't remember, that might be midnight something. I can't remember the exact variety. Anyway, they mound up and produce some really pretty purple flowers. So this will be a really nice, like, little bit of spring color in there. And it's a nice bright green. Right above it, I've got a Green Mountain cone boxwood. I've got two, you know, one on either side flanking this walkway. And then I've got 3 Ambridge Rose. They're a David Austin, and they are absolutely loaded with buds. This is one of my favorite colors. It's like the Colette, but you know, clearly not a climber, and it's a little bit more on the peach side. So this one, Colette's way more pink, and this one's way more apricot, and I absolutely adore this rose. I've also got some Daisy May daisies in here. There's a microchip buddleia, so a white blooming buddleia. There's Liatris, there's a Limelight hydrangea standard. There's Phacelia Bee's Friend. That's actually in one of the raised beds, but it's blooming beautiful purple right now. Well, it looks like the rest of the storm is a little bit further south, so we may have seen, have seen the last of it. I don't know. And then I put the cafe au lait right here. I thought I had one more in the greenhouse, so I will root around in there and see if I have a few more so I can have like a little drift of cafe au laits in here. That'll be really pretty, especially once the Stokes asters are blooming and we've got some purple, and then we've got that real pretty cream. Love it. Whew, nice and bright right here. Okay, 3 more varieties. I think we're gonna head right on out to the south garden now. Everything just looks so good after it rains. Look at how good Aaron and Paul's grass is coming up. It's looking so awesome, and Trisha and Eddie are almost done with the flower shed. Oh, the shakes are looking so pretty. I think we're gonna plant the betony right out here Paul is in the tractor. He's been working on spreading that pile of compost over the wood chips out here, and it looks so good. So good. Oh. Okay, we have plenty of space to work with out here. I'm thinking a large drift of that betony would look real nice right in here. Yep, I think that's what we're gonna do.
Now you can plant it.
You want me to plant it? Thank you for your help. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Oh, I love it. All right, so all the betony and the armeria is in this space. I did kind of a lazy drift, I guess you could say, starting right here, and then it kind of goes in and then gets wider right here, and then swings around the front side of this rose, which I think is a pink one. I can't remember exactly. Planted it late in the season, and I had to cut it way back. So I'm super happy to see all this growth and all the flower buds. But I do think it's pink, so I think the purple will look really pretty with it. And then it goes around the back side of this tater tot arb and then stops right here. There's a proudberry coralberry right here that's looking very fresh. Cut that one back to 12 inches this spring. It's looking really good. And then pop the little armeria right in here next to the purple sedum. And I'm thinking, because we've got a betony pretty close right here, and then the armeria right here, we've got this little space where we can plant something like a soft yellow or a white or a pink, something that blooms though in the summer and or fall. You know, I have some of those Super Tunia Mini Vista yellows left over from our container project, the big containers behind me that have like the coleus and sunflowers, and then I used one of the yellows in each one of those pots. This would be a really fun spot to try it out in the landscape to see what it does in the ground versus in containers. I might do that. It's like thunder. It's in the distance and it's traveling to the south of us, which I'm really thankful for. It does look like there might be something else coming. I just heard, Trisha was just telling me that she heard 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts, which is fairly low for us, and a 3/4 inch size hail. But I think it's skirting around us, I hope. Look at how those flowers just pop with the compost as opposed to the wood chips. Oh, that Baptisia is amazing. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna be done for the day. I did not plant the bunny tails. I drove around and looked for a spot, and I just can't nail it down. I do remember thinking when it was in the cut flower garden last year that it had such a unique, beautiful texture and color that it would look really pretty in a flower bed situation rather than just in a row in the flower garden. I mean, it was beautiful out there, but I remember thinking like, what a waste having it out here when it could be so beautiful in a flower bed somewhere. So I don't want to just plop it anywhere. So I'm going to give it a day or two and just look around and find the right spot. Plus, I do need to go water the greenhouse before whatever it is that's coming arrives. The wind keeps like kicking up and gusting a little bit. So we'll see what happens there. Either way, I'm really happy with what we got done today. This area is just developing so beautifully, and I can't wait. We just got the floor in the Hartley is finished. So Benny's crew came and finished the back, like approach, I guess, where it comes out 2 feet from the inside to the outside. So they finished that, and I wanted to wait until they were done with that just in case they needed to use their machinery for anything. I didn't want to start planting things back there and get it in their way. So now the coast is clear and we can start measuring and planting back there. So that'll probably be a good portion of what we do the next couple of weeks, I think. So that and getting the rest of our annuals planted. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye. I am so, oh my gosh, I gotta fix myself. Hold on.